So you want to take the Myers Briggs inventory and you want to make sure you're coming from your core self. And I think that's wise. So I'll walk you through this visualization. And at the end, go ahead and take your inventory. Most of the ones you'll find for free online are perfectly fine. Okay. So I want to invite you to start by getting comfortable in your seat. You might adjust your body such that you feel supported, that you're reminded of how capable your body is of holding you up. And take a deep breath or two. You might let your eyes gently close. And you might let your attention just travel along your spine, from your tailbone up to your neck, and then on to the very top of your head. And notice just how capable your neck is in holding up your head. It doesn't have to strain. There doesn't have to be tension. Your neck was built for this. Your spine is strong. And then I want you to imagine there's a hat in your hands. It can look like anything. And this hat represents your professional role. You can go ahead and put that on your head. And then another hat appears in your hands. And this one represents your role as a community member. And you might have multiple community member roles. Maybe you volunteer in different organizations. Maybe you lead clubs or organizations. Maybe you coach a team or two or play on a team. So for each of these roles, you're going to want another hat and place each of those on top of that professional role hat. So that they're starting to build a little stack. You can pause there for a moment and just notice how that feels, whether it's now 2 hats or 6. Notice that sensation of these representative hats stacked in a tall pile on your head. And now I want to invite you to imagine a hat for each of your family roles. Maybe as a child to one or more people, maybe as the parent of one or more people, maybe a cousin, maybe an aunt or uncle or significant adult other. And for each of these roles, again, another hat. So you might have one, you might have a dozen. And for each of those, I want to invite you to stack them on top such that you're having to stretch to reach the top of that pile and put the next one on. And again, just pause and notice. Do you notice the same sense of ease in your neck? Are you having to work a little bit to balance all those hats? Is there a sense of maybe a tiny little bit of wobble? And now imagine any other hats, any other roles. Are there other roles that you embody, that you fill, that need to be represented at this point? Maybe as a pet parent, as an activist, as anything that means something to you and who you are as a human being. And add those as well, way up at the top. And one last time, let's pause. And I invite you to check in with your neck. Check in with that sense of balancing all of these parts of yourself, all of these roles that you fill. And notice that you are, in fact, capable of holding them all. You can pile them all on. And it takes some work. It takes some balancing. It takes activating some muscles. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to take them back off, and I'm going to invite you to put them in a pile next to you. They're not going away. These roles, these parts of you, they're important. They're valuable. They're meaningful. And they're not your core self. So I'm going to invite you now to take those hats off, one or two at a time, and just place them next to you. They're going to be there after this activity, ready to be picked back up by you. And once they're all in the pile next to you, Notice again that sense of ease. Notice the lightness of being in your core self. No other roles to consider, no stretching to do, just within your strengths and inclinations, just within your flow. And when you're ready, I'm going to invite you to open your eyes and go forth to take that inventory. I'd love to hear what you discover and how well it resonates with you, or doesn't.